Now, more than ever, it matters where you get your news. Newsradio 1080 KRLD.
More of us heading back to work in person. If we get sick, when we're encouraged to come back to work, what are my rights as an employee? We're joined by Sarah Rogers, a partner at Crain Brogdon and Rogers.
All employees everywhere, and including in Texas, have the right to a safe workplace. You know, that could be a very different situation for somebody going back to an office area, maybe your cubicle situation, or if there's offices with closed doors, versus I'm sure you've seen in the headlines, employees that have to go back to work in nursing homes or even situations in places like meatpacking plants.
Is it upon employees to raise concerns? Would you first start to talk to HR or something like that to raise any concerns you have?
Absolutely. We all have a responsibility to look out for ourselves, and so we certainly should raise those, although I understand people may be hesitant. They don't want to lose their job or be furloughed, and so I know that folks are sometimes hesitant to do that. So while that's certainly a good route to go, it is truly upon the employer to create a safe workplace for folks. So absolutely in favor of people speaking up and doing their part. But again, it's really the employer's responsibility to create guidelines, do their research, look at what the CDC has out there, and create what is the best that they can do to take efforts to make it safe for all of their employees if they're requiring them to come back.
What if that's just not being done? I feel unsafe. What's my best course of action?
So this is going to be the really tricky part going forward, John. So, Texas is a state in which employers can opt out of carrying workers' compensation insurance. So generally in Texas, if the employer has workers' comp and an employee has an illness or injury that arose at work or in the course and scope of their employment, then the employer, if they carry workers' compensation, the proper course of action would be to make a claim on the employer's workers' compensation. You could not just immediately sue your employer in that situation. Whereas if the employer has opted out of the workers' compensation system, which they can do in Texas, then an employee could consider filing a lawsuit against the employer if they were injured in the course and scope of their work. However, I think the difficult thing in either case is going to prove that the employee contracted COVID-19 at their place of work. So little is known about contracting other than we know it spreads really easily. Did that employee go any place other than his or her workplace and her home? I think that's going to be a big blockade that insurance companies put up, that employers put up, is how folks are going to prove that they actually contracted COVID-19 at work.
Sarah Rogers, a partner at Crain Brogdon Rogers.